Hello everyone, welcome back to Current Economy and Investment Insights. Today is November 7, 2020, in the middle of the coronavirus, and we're going to make some changes for our show. Rather than being only 6 feet apart, Paul and I are going to be 6 miles apart. Paul is going to be actually videotaping from his home, and I'm going to introduce him and give you a little preview of all that's going on currently today in the financial market. So we're going to turn it over to Paul and let Paul take it from here.
COVID-19 trends will be the key determinant of the near-term employment trends. Businesses in the leisure and hospitality sector are once again facing new restrictions in many areas due to surging corona case counts. The sector is particularly vulnerable to virus conditions, as it's made up of businesses that rely on people congregating in close proximity and in high numbers. As we've mentioned before, the L&H sector includes businesses like bars, restaurants, fast food, casinos, amusement parks, sporting and music venues, zoos, museums, and other gathering places. And as we have said before, it makes it very difficult for these places to survive under coronavirus conditions. Over the summer, many of these businesses, particularly bars and restaurants, found some relief from necessary capacity restrictions by expanding their seating outdoors. As the weather turns colder, however, outdoor seating becomes less of a viable solution. In March and April, the U.S. economy shed 22.2 million jobs, and the leisure and hospitality sector accounted for 38% of the jobs lost. Although the job market has made broad gains over the last several months, the L&H sector still accounted for 36% of the 10.7 million jobs. The U.S. economy is still down relative to February levels. Overall, we do believe the economy has made good progress, and its recovery, as most segments of activity have rebounded much better than forecasters, including our own, have anticipated. Employment may be the one area where we could point out as lagging broader economic trends. Part of this is reflective of the fact that the L&H sector accounts for 5% of U.S. economic activity, yet 11% of non-farm payrolls. The disparity is partially reflective of the fact that the sector offers many more part-time jobs than others, and one individual may hold 2 or more part-time positions, but we'll leave this topic for another discussion. In conclusion, the recovery in employment is likely to have lost further momentum in the month of October, given recent COVID-19 trends. The sector and a few others, including transportation and retail, could see renewed downward pressure over the near term until virus conditions improve.
And thanks, Paul, for the update. And I'm going to give you what has Ameriprise giving us as of information this morning, what's really taking place immediately as we speak. The S&P 500 futures are sharply higher after Pfizer and BioNTech announced a trial data indicating that their COVID-19 vaccine is over 90% effective. So we're going to hear a whole lot more on this. The global stocks are relying on the positive vaccine developments, with benchmarks in Germany and France each higher more than 5%. So we're going to see this is probably going to have the market boost a little. The WTI crude oil is advancing over 10% on investor optimism for a global economy recovery. And a little bit of news about stocks. Shares of McDonald's are higher in the pre-market trading after the company reported better than expected third quarter 2020. So we're probably going to see a few things in fast food that is going to be better than normal. The year-to-date numbers that are as of today, S&P 500 is a plus 10%. The NASDAQ is at plus 33%. The Dow Jones finally went into a plus 1%. So we'll see where all this goes in the next week. I'm sure there's going to be some fast-moving numbers, both in the market and in general on the financial marketplace. So stay with us. We are going to be going to a program called Your Money, and Paul always has an interesting topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back with Your Money. As I mentioned, Paul always has an interesting topic, and I'm going to let Paul take it from there and share his topic with us. Stay with us.
Dealing with surprise medical bills. Since early 2020, millions of Americans have been infected by the coronavirus, often resulting in the need for significant medical care. Stories have emerged of people who were hit with surprise medical bills for the treatment they received. It's a reminder that we all need to be ready for potential out-of-pocket medical expenses, whether it is to cover treatment for the virus or another type of ailment. The emergence of COVID-19 has made it clear that medical events can occur out of the blue. Now, more than ever, it's very important to make sure you have the right health insurance in place to help you manage the potential financial consequences of a health crisis. Most people have coverage either through their employer, through an individual policy, or as part of a government program such as Medicare or Medicaid. Regardless of how you are insured, it's increasingly common today to face copays or deductibles when you need care. Therefore, your financial commitment doesn't end with the premiums for which you may be responsible. Depending on the policy you carry, you could easily face out-of-pocket expenses costing several thousands of dollars. Now, one way to manage these costs is to pay close attention to whether providers you work with are either in-network or if they are out-of-network. Typically, your personal financial liability is limited with in-network providers, but your insurance coverage may be lacking if you use out-of-network providers. Now, in emergency situations, you may not have much control over who provides your care. These circumstances can often result in particularly large bills that may surprise those who thought their health insurance would cover them. Health insurance may mitigate much of the cost risk, but it doesn't eliminate it. Simply stated, sudden or unexpected medical bills fall under the heading of emergency expenses. Like a surprise home or car repair, you should have money saved in an emergency fund to help cover these types of expenses. Now, conventional wisdom recommends that you set aside the equivalent of 3 to 6 months of household income in an emergency fund. These are dollars that should be readily accessible, held in vehicles such as bank savings accounts or money market funds. Given today's economic uncertainties, maybe even a larger emergency fund equal to 9 months or more of income might be appropriate. Now, most important, you want to avoid depleting accounts that are set up to help meet long-term goals, such as retirement or college or education costs. Cash in place provides the necessary cushion against surprise medical bills while protecting savings devoted to other goals. A few other steps to consider, if you find yourself in a pinch trying to pay bills, there are other things to do. One, you might want to talk to your medical provider to try to make arrangements to either alter the change or set up a payment plan that you can realistically stick to. Or two, if you need more guidance, consult with a credit counselor who may be able to help put a structural solution to deal with your financial challenges. Finally, as always, planning ahead is your best defense against the impact of surprise medical expenses. Also, be sure to understand what is and isn't covered under your current health insurance policy. Your financial advisor can work with you to make sure that you properly have an emergency fund set up. Again, if you're working with a financial advisor already, that's great. If you are not, or you'd like a second opinion with the one you're working with, please feel free to give me a call directly. My number again is 708-226-3412.
Okay, thank you, Paul, for your input today. I'm sure we're going to have some, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have some interesting numbers taking place, and you always come back with a interesting number in the financial market, that is, and you always come back with a nice topic to discuss with the viewers. So we will see you next week. For Paul Munichel with Ameriprise Financial and myself, Ron Jankowski with Channel 4 and Palos Heights, we wish you good investment day.